burning questions. Adam Schefter, I start with you. I keep coming back to this. What are the chances Aaron Donald signs with the Rams in time for their Week 1 game in Australia?
Well, it continues to feel like it's trending that way, Greeny. But Aaron Donald ultimately has to give the sign-off, and then he and the Rams would have to rework his contract, being that he's scheduled to be paid $30 million. So there are issues to get through, but it does seem to be moving in that direction.
Tim, let's talk about Caleb Williams in Chicago. Their defensive injuries are a concern. How far can he carry this team if the defense doesn't get better?
I mean, I think he can carry them far because I think he's going to be, one of the best quarterbacks in the game, especially playing for Ben Johnson. Now, the caveat to that is it's a hard division. So as good as you can be on offense, that's great. If you can't stop people, will be a limit to your run.
Yeah, whatever the game is, take the over. And then finally, Jordan, everyone is talking about the Dallas rookie Caleb Downs. What can he bring to this defense in his first season?
Well, I think he's going to be the defensive rookie of the year. Instantly, he's the best football player on that side of the ball. Communication, leadership, tackling, all things that defense desperately needed, and Christian Parker is going to move him all over the place. Safeties were terrible in coverage last year for the Cowboys. They're instantly better in that area, and he's going to be a weapon. He can play at all three levels. He's going to be dynamic, man.
So, Schefty, I was listening, as I always do, to the Adam Schefter podcast.
Thank you.
And you just got to thinking about Caleb Downs, and it took you back a little bit to some names I remember vividly.
Nobody mentioned it. Nobody said anything. But as I was talking about Caleb Downs, and as I was thinking about all the things I've heard about him this summer, it came to me that back in 1981, way long time ago, 45 years ago, the San Francisco 49ers were putrid. They were ranked 26th in the league in defense. They drafted Ronnie Lott, 8th overall. They drafted two more rookie defensive backs, Carlton Williamson and Eric Wright, that they matched with Dwight Hicks. They had three rookie starters in the secondary, and Ronnie Lott that year became All-Pro. There has not been another All-Pro defensive back as a rookie in the last 30 years. The first one to do it was Patrick Peterson. The Cowboys feel like they got a steal with the 11th overall pick. Caleb Downs was rumored to be going higher. When you speak to the people in and around Columbus, they say none of this is a surprise to us. He's one of Nick Saban's favorites. And it sounds to me, I'm just connecting dots based on everything I've heard, he has the chance to have the type of impact on the Dallas defense that Ronnie Lott did on the 49ers defense back in 1981. A year after the 49ers drafted him, Ronnie Lott helped lead them to a Super Bowl title. Now, this is very early, and there's a lot that has to get done for what was the worst defense in the league last year. All I'm telling you is this guy feels like he's going to have a dramatic impact on the Dallas defense this season.
I love it. And in case you're at home and you don't know the history, you're saying, what does Nick Saban have to do with it? He started at Alabama, played there. Saban loved him. When Saban retired, he transferred to Ohio State. He became, in Mel's opinion, the second best player in this draft behind Fernando Mendoza. He just fell because he's a safety, and teams have this ridiculous idea that they need to draft based on position. So, Tim Hasselbeck, as we sit back and we look at Downs, and he's not the only one. They've made so many acquisitions on defense, so many pieces, fortifying with the trades they made last year, including Quinnen Williams. What kind of a jump do you think is a realistic expectation for this Dallas D going into the year?
I think they're the best team in the NFC East, so we'll just start there. And then a lot of times, we talk about the Cowboys all offseason for contract disputes and things like that. They're a legitimate contender. I think they're going to have the best offense, or close to it, the best offense in football. And now all of a sudden, when you look at all of the defensive acquisitions, change in scheme, all that, if they're just moderately better on the defensive side of the ball, they're a real threat. So, look, I think they are absolutely a Super Bowl contender. And if what Adam is saying in terms of the impact of Downs, now all of a sudden, pour a little gas on that theory.
What do you think, Jordan?
Yeah, I've sat down with Nick Saban talking about Caleb Downs, saying he's one of the smartest football players he's ever coached. And why does that matter? One of the worst areas that Dallas was on that side of the ball last year was giving up explosive plays, especially through the air. A lot of that, some is scheme. Part of that is alignment and understanding of what's coming. And Caleb Downs is the kind of guy that his instincts and identification are unbelievable. So the reason I mentioned communication as one of the things he's going to add right away is communicating on what the offense is doing. When they're in this alignment, think about Luke Kuechly. One of the reasons he's a Hall of Famer is because he could see things coming before they came. And that's what Caleb Downs is able to do at every level with Nick Saban, with Matt Patricia. That's going to instantly make all the other 10 guys around him on defense that much better.
So if that is the type of player that we're talking about, what did Luke Kuechly do for the Carolina Panther defense?
Yeah.
Right. He makes Super Bowl,
and he makes everybody around him better.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, this defense is going to be better than people think. Everybody's expecting this awful, putrid defense, the way they were with the 49ers defense back in the early 80s. And when you get a player like this that thinks the way he does, that plays the way he does, that reacts the way he does, sometimes it transforms the entire unit.
I love the comparison, and I love Tim's confidence. Best team in the division. Can be very interesting to watch. Coming up, we are going to go.
Now we go to the NFL, where Von Miller has officially signed his contract with the Dallas Cowboys. The league's active sack leader spent last season with the Commanders, recording 9 sacks while appearing in all 17 games. Dallas trying to bolster a defense that allowed the most points in league last season. You know it's officially almost the start of the NFL season when you see this guy in studio. Swagoo, Marcus Spears here to hang out on SportsCenter. Thank you for being here.
Yeah,
okay, so how much improvement do you expect to see out of this Dallas defense?
Marketably. I think this, one, maturity. A lot of really good football players that have played well for a long time. They understand how to go about their business. And sometimes that maturity level matters on that side of the football, especially when things aren't going great. But this draft with Caleb Downs, people talked about his maturity, how much advanced he is than a normal rookie, the plays that he's been making in camp, and then the extension of Quentin Williams as well. Giving him more money, gives him more cachet on this football team. They talked about his leadership and how quickly he impacted this locker room when they made the trade for him from the New York Jets. And then, signing Von Miller, even though we, not showing him, but it's just it feels like a quiet, respectful, going about your business off season in Dallas, and I'm not sure if I've been able to sit here the last 3 years and say that, right? Even the contract with George Pickens, that didn't become a big thing. They franchised him, George signed it, he's in camp. But from what they've done, especially defensively, I expect them to be much, much better. And from 32, you can only go up.
That's true. We always use that stat. So hopefully we won't be able to do that this season. The Cowboys will open up the season on Sunday night at MetLife against the Giants. Now to a developing story where the Seahawks are still planning to sign former Lions quarterback Terrion Arnold, who is facing 8 felony charges stemming from a kidnapping and robbery in Florida. Once he signs, Arnold will be placed on the NFL's commissioner's exempt list, where he'd be ineligible to play or practice while the league looks into his case. So Arnold faces a likely suspension. Once he is eligible, what would his addition mean to that Seahawks team? Well,
this team has been kind of known by their secondary for a long time, and Terrion Arnold is a former first-round pick that people thought was on the ascension in Detroit. Now, obviously, he's dealing with these felony charges, but you think about what they've done this offseason with Devin Witherspoon, making him the highest-paid cornerback in the league. Mike McDonald wants to have a secondary where he can play man and be multiple and even blitz. And Terrion Arnold falls into that category if they can get him on the field, if everything works out whatever way it does. But I still think, like, when you have this particular situation, I'm not going to sit on SportsCenter and not address the elephant in the room. When you have this particular situation, you have to plan for him not to be there. And whatever information that they gathered as the Seattle Seahawks, whatever they determine gives them that ability to sign Terrion Arnold, maybe to have his rights if everything gets resolved and he's able to come back on the football field, he's going to add to what's already a really good secondary. They lost some guys this offseason. So I think it's a lot of moving parts to this. But talking about what he adds to this defense right now is a little bit premature because we don't know what's going to happen. And they also have who people think is the best cornerback in the NFL in Devin Witherspoon, as they paid him that way.
Yeah, so we'll wait to see what happens with the Arnold situation. Defending champion Seahawks currently with the 4th best odds to win the Super Bowl at 11-1. Swagoo, great to see you.
Thank you, Keith.
Still to come.